to get rid of credit card debt fast. My guest today is a credit card expert who doesn't just talk the talk, but walks the walk. Beverly Harzog, who is a nationally recognized personal finance and credit card expert for U.S. News and World Report, was previously actually in an over $20,000 credit card debt and had maxed out 7 credit cards, and she was able to get out of it in a very short period of time. Now she uses credit cards as a tool for her, as opposed to letting the credit card companies use her as a tool for their profits. This is the second episode of a trilogy on credit card debt, so make sure you're subscribed to our channel. If you have any questions you want Beverly to answer in the next episode, make sure you leave a comment below and let us know. And don't forget to share this video with anyone you know who needs to get rid of credit card debt fast. My name is Kenna Danielle, and I'm the founder of the Invest Diva movement. And now let's go and say hi to Beverly. Beverly back here on Invest Diva movement, and today we're going to talk about, oh my god, a topic that I get asked all the freaking time: how to get rid of credit card debt fast. And I know that, Beverly, you have a very fascinating story that you were in complete credit card debt and you got out of it. So can you just enlighten us on how to do this?
Sure, Kiana. Yes, I was in terrible debt when I was young, and it happened right after I got out of college. And to make it even more ironic, I was actually a CPA, and I got into all this trouble because credit, particularly, is just not intuitive. You don't just wake up in the morning knowing how to handle your credit cards, or how to get a good credit score. So I knew a whole lot about corporate finance, but not really anything at all about personal finance. So I started studying personal finance and credit to figure out how to get myself out of the mess I was in. I had a debt on 7 credit cards, about $21,000, and I got out of debt in 2 years. Now, at the time, I was single and had no kids, so that saved me a lot of money right there. I was able to save a lot to throw at my debt. I was driving an old car. I stuck with that. I started downsizing certain expenses to save money. I had been, I liked the finer things in life. Let me just put it that way. I was young.
It doesn't.
Because I'd had the money for the first time in my life, really. I didn't grow up with, in a household that had a lot of luxury items. So I was a member of this really swanky health club that I did not need. I don't know why I did that. So I downsized that to a local gym, in my neighborhood. I saved on gas. It was so cheap, but I needed to exercise to handle the stress levels that I had from being in debt. So I cut back on expenses like that. I just stopped going out and just wasting my money. I would go out if the bar had a free buffet. That was my dinner. So I ate a lot of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for dinner for like 6 months to a year.
Oh my God.
And started really not just minimum payments, but doubling that, tripling that. And that's eventually how I got out of debt. I just willed myself to get out. And the lower my balance got, the better I felt. It's like the adrenaline just pulls you forward once you get started. So, anybody can do this.
So it's basically budgeting and avoiding impulse shopping.
Absolutely. That's right. And, all of my friends know at the time I was on a strict budget, because sometimes other people can pull you into their own financial dramas, and so you want to be sure you surround yourself with supportive people. But I did that, and one method I used, and I kind of created this myself, one of the books I've written, Confessions of a Credit Junkie. I used the blizzard method, debt blizzard. Now, you've heard of the debt snowball, the debt avalanche. Debt snowball, you start with the smallest balance on a credit card, and you work your way up to the largest. And you pay more money this way because you weren't thinking about interest rate, but you get that quick lift, from paying something off quickly. The avalanche is when you start with the highest APR and then go down to the lowest, so you save more money. So I just combined the two. I started with the snowball, and started with my smallest balance because I needed to feel good about something in a hurry to keep going. And then I switched to Avalanche so I would save the most money. And I decided to call that the Blizzard. It's just kind of a combination of both of them. But I will not say that one method is the absolute best way. It depends on what works for you. You know, what's right for me may not be right for you. So if you need the snowball so that you keep getting these quick hits really close together, that's fine. You know, if you don't mind paying a little extra money to get out of debt that way, that's fine. But just pick something that works and stick to it and be persistent, and you will get out of debt. You'll be free.
Right. So I do have a very special example here. And I know that, I mean, when you're younger, it probably is a little bit easier to get out of debt. And it would help if you actually have a job that is paying you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there is a situation on one of our students actually that she was diagnosed with Lyme disease, and she lost the ability to actually work in her profession.
Mm-hmm.
And because her insurance companies weren't accepting her method of insurance for her treatment, she ended up having to pay out of pocket. Now, to cover for that, she started investing, but
Mm-hmm.
in the meantime, she still had to pay, like the investments weren't catching up
Mm-hmm.
with the amount of debt that she was on. Now, this is not necessarily credit card debt, but for somebody in that situation,
Mm-hmm.
like budgeting is obviously one thing, and you can really put yourself in that situation as much as you can. But do you have any other tips for somebody who doesn't have other choices and is budgeting as much as they can?
Oh yes, this is a great topic. I'm so glad you brought this up. Medical debt is one of the top reasons for bankruptcy in this country. And for someone who can't work because of their illness, well, that's very disheartening. I know. One thing that I recommend is that you call your providers, your medical providers, and talk to them about your bill. Let them know that you were trying, that you've been unable to work because of the symptoms. Just be upfront and honest. You can do this with credit card issuers as well. And sometimes that works pretty well. They have hardship departments. So if it's a situation, say, where you think you're going to be out of work for a year, and then you think things are going to be looking up for you again, you'll be able to work again, call and talk to your credit card issuer's hardship department about that. And they will try to put together a program for you. These usually last about a year, so it's for short-term issues. They might let you skip a couple of payments, or they might let you pay half of the minimum payment just to stay current as best you can. So there are ways around this. And if you really feel like you're drowning, let's say you've got $100,000 in medical debt, and I've talked to people with this issue too. Call a credit counselor, talk to somebody, get online with nfcc.org, that's National Foundation for Credit Counseling, and spend an hour on the phone with a counselor there, and they'll talk to you for free for an hour and give you some advice. And then you can decide what would be the best path for you to take. Now, some people in this situation do end up with a debt, management program or even bankruptcy. But in most cases, sometimes just a little nudge from the counselor can get you sent off in the right direction, and that helps you recover. But do something. Yeah, it's only going to get worse if you don't be proactive about it.
Right. So that's credit card forgiveness, basically, that people talk about.
Credit card forgiveness, it's funny because I'm writing a story about that today.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Credit card debt forgiveness is pretty complicated. There are a couple of tests you have to pass, and if you get past a certain point, you actually have to pay taxes on it. So this is something you would want to discuss with the counselor for sure, if that's what you're considering.
That's amazing. And Beverly, do you actually provide counseling on credit cards?
I don't. I'm a credit card expert and analyst for U.S. News and World Report. I write a column there weekly. So I help people the way I can, writing about credit topics, and I'm on social media. I'm on Twitter. I'll answer any questions on social media that anybody has.
And where can people find you besides your social media? We have the website here,
BeverlyHarzog.com. And yes, and my email is beverly@beverlyharzog.com. Feel free to send me questions.
That is super amazing. Thank you so much again for joining us today, Beverly. This was, I know that our audience are going to really appreciate this. People watching, go follow Beverly on her social media and just take all of her advice. Before you start investing, you have to be out of debt. So that is super important. We're Invest Diva, but there is a step before you need to take care of your debt. You need to take care of your credit cards so that you can start making your money grow. If you don't have money, you can't make it grow. So let's take care of that first. Again, thank you so much, Beverly, for joining us today, and we'll catch you again on the next episode of Invest Diva Movement.
You're a great interviewer. I love your style.
Let me know when you're ready. Don't fall off the chair.
Bye.